Hello, and welcome to the stream. It is I, Elle-C, and with me today is Gerardo Santana, who will be my special guest for this stream. I'm going to give Gerardo a call shortly. Here we go. Gonna call him in.
Why, hello there.
Hello, and welcome to the stream, Gerardo. Okay, so I'm gonna make this kind of short. You said you only had about 30 minutes, is that right?
No, 30, I believe you said you wanted to have me for 30 minutes. I can do 30 minutes. No worries.
Oh, okay. So, to get started, I know you don't need any introduction. Hello, Kurumi. I know you don't need any introduction to this community, but can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Something you'd like to share?
Sure. So, I'm probably the oldest guy in the group. Been around for a while. Been around the block. I actually stumbled across you pretty randomly. Now that I think about it, I think I just saw you streaming something, and I'm like, hey, this is kind of something to do. Maybe this would be a good time killer. Hopped in, and next thing you know, you and the rest of the people that were there, seemed like a pretty nice bunch.
Uh-huh.
So, came from there.
Awesome.
Otherwise, as you can see by my little avatar here, I'm a bit of a Gundam fan, anime fan. As far as things that I'm willing to share, former military, served in the military for 6 years. Now I do a mix of customer service and manager. So my boss likes to call me the TLC guy. So when it comes to TLC, it can be tender love and care or tables, ladders, and chairs. Your choice. As far as games, a little bit of everything. Mainly nowadays, I play stuff like fighting games, games like Gundam Extreme Versus. It's a personal favorite. Single player games is namely RPGs or action adventure platformers. Honestly, a little bit of everything, really. I'm willing to try just about any game. I guess if I had a game type that I don't really tend to favor, it's probably horror, because some of them kind of freak me out. But I do have an appreciation for some of them. Like, for example, I have a really big appreciation for some indie ones, namely Perret and Peru. Highly recommended. But other than that, it's really it. I don't really consider myself anybody special. Just slowly trying to do a little bit of self-improvement nowadays. Gotta compensate for some bad habits.
Awesome. I'd just like to acknowledge LDP Kurumi Aris 218, who just dropped in. You mentioned horror, right? They kind of freak you out. You know what? They have the opposite effect. Hey, Elijah. They have the opposite effect on me. Like, I rarely play them because they just bore me.
I guess it depends on the game. Like, for example, the Resident Evil games, those didn't really do much for me. If I were to pick up a specific game that actually kind of freaked me out a little bit, it was PT, the trailer for the playable teaser for Silent Hills. That one definitely creeped me out a little bit. And then there was one of the Fatal Frames ones really kind of made me uncomfortable. Otherwise, not actually. Now that I really think about it, I'm pretty good with horror stuff.
Fatal Frame, huh? You know, when I played like the third game, it was the third game, I think, for the PS2. I was like, okay, this game is pretty good until, they introduced the camera mechanics. I was like, wait, I'm doing damage to these ghosts. Like a calculable damage to these ghosts by taking pictures of them with a camera. Why?
Well, the one that I got to play /see was 2 Crimson Butterfly. That one was pretty interesting. I thought it was well made.
I see.
But I guess, it really depends on the game. Like Dead by Daylight, that one's arcadey. That one doesn't creep me out. Stuff like House of the Dead. I guess you can sort of kind of consider the Castlevania game sort of kind of horror, since it includes that sort of thing. But I guess it really depends on the game. The ones where you can fight back like pretty well, those don't really do much for me.
Yeah.
But stuff that has like good horror elements, like I think, like I said again, like Pret Emheru, that one is a indie game, it's an RPG Maker game. That one's really good. It's not like super duper scary, but I think the horror elements are actually very well done. Also, hello everybody.
Hello, Darnold Jackson and Abraham Ruiz, who just joined in. And LDP said the two most subjective genres in art are comedy and horror/tragedy. Really just a matter of who you are, what your life experience is, and what you do and don't find scary. And hello, Triforce Hunter. Welcome.
I can agree with that, and I think that's why I've enjoyed Pret Emheru so much, because it mixes horror with some hints of comedy. But no, I agree completely. It is 100% depends on the person. Like, I mean, you can kind of consider Snatcher to be a little bit of horror, because it does have, I think, like 1 or 2 jump scares, and it also has a bit of a horror aspect with a bit of gore, given what the Snatchers can do. That's another game I would highly recommend people play if you guys haven't played it. It's probably one of Kojima's best games. It's really a shame we're never going to get a sequel now.
Oh, we're not? Why is that? Is it because he left Konami?
Yeah, with that big fallout that they had, yeah, there's no way we get that. And then it's even worse because we had a chance again with PT, because it was going to be him, Guillermo del Toro, and then a Japanese artist, I think is Ito, I think his last name is Junji Ito.
Junji Ito,
yeah, all 3 of them were supposed to work together for that, and my brother, he likes playing horror games, and that was like the only time I've ever seen him like actually like creeped out when it came to the horror game. Like him and his best friend, like that game did a number on them.
I tried playing
kind of
the scariest PS3 horror games that people could recommend. Like last week, I was like, meh. Well, at least I enjoyed Dead Space. Because, I'm like, I'm the monster.
You know what's funny? I think Dead Space 1 was better than the other ones, namely because Isaac didn't talk.
I see. So he talks in the sequels.
Yeah, because in the first game, he doesn't really do or say much, so he's kind of a silent protagonist, so you can imprint on the character. But then he kind of started talking, and he cursed way too much, and it kind of got annoying. It's kind of like, I'm sorry, like I love me some swear words. Look, I'm Navy, so I'm sure you guys have heard the term "swear like a sailor," but so when people just curse for the sake of cursing, it's boring. Perfect example of that would be for the PS3, Killzone. There's a part where one of the guys is like, he's just randomly out of nowhere, "Fuck this," shit, and I'm just like. And me and my brother, we just started laughing. It was just like, what is this? It's like, is that supposed to be cool or something?
Kind of sounds like a Duke Nukem moment.
Not even, because I mean, at least with Duke Nukem, it's funny. It's usually well timed. But it's like when a character's just there, just cursing for just absolutely no reason out of nowhere. It's just like, what are you doing, bro? That's not realistic at all.
I think it can be funny, like in House of the Dead Overkill. That other guy just curses his way through the entire game.
See, that's funny because you can obviously tell that he's just had enough of this garbage. But it's like Killzone's trying to be like super serious, and then it's just we're in the middle of like a fight just ended. No one's doing anything. We're not going anywhere. We're just standing there, and then that guy just fuck this shit, and I'm like. Why? Why did he say that? You'd think he'd say like, yo, like, let's get going. Let's go do something. Not just random curse. It's just really weird.
All right. So let's try to get to know Gerardo a little bit better. How about some rapid fire questions? So you answer with the first thing that comes to mind. You can also refuse to answer or give an answer outside of the choices. Ready?
Sure.
Retro or modern?
Retro. Anytime.
Gundam or Macross?
Macross.
Mario or Castlevania?
Castlevania.
Hardware or emulators?
Ooh, that's actually tough. Emulator.
SNES or Genesis?
I'm sorry, what are Genesis?
SNES or Genesis?
Oh, SNES, any day.
PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
Sega or Nintendo?
Nintendo.
Lolly or no lolly?
One more time.
Lolly or no lolly?
Lolly. Lolly are good. Lolly good. Head pet the lolly.
Sub or dub?
Dumb or dumb? Dumb.
Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
Street Fighter easily.
And last, 2D or 3D?
That's actually easy. 2D for sure.
Nice. You prefer 2D. Awesome. So, how do you like to play your games? Using real hardware or via emulation or both?
I'm perfectly fine with both. If I can get the physical copy, the physical version, like the actual version, then absolutely. I do want to support. I do think that if a game is good, if a developer is one that you trust, you absolutely should support them. But to quote, Gabe, piracy is a service issue. So if you're not giving us access to what we want, people are going to get what they want. It's like people are literally saying, we want to support you. Like, let us support you. Let us give you money. So it's just baffling to me when companies just refuse to do so. Like, I get it sometimes because sometimes some games don't sell. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure most people here can appreciate Mega Man games. But it's like, we can appreciate Mega Man games, great. But then, Mega Man Maverick Hunter X came out. And they released that game with the intention of making more Mega Man games. They were going to remake more of them in that way. But Maverick Hunter X didn't sell well, so we never got it. Same thing with Mega Man Powered Up. It was a cuter, slightly easier take on the original Mega Man, which was, admittedly a pretty hard game. It didn't sell. People want to... Although there is no excuse for F-Zero. F-Zero GX sold well. But here we are waiting for another one. And no, I don't count the GBA ones. Bite me. Except for Maximum Velocity. Maximum Velocity was excellent.
Okay, I'd like to acknowledge LDP, who says the first game I ever saw on his channel was Snatcher. Yes, that is correct. I think he was at the end of Snatcher as well. Okay, guys, if you have any questions for Gerardo as we go on, feel free to post them in the chat. And I'm sure he'll try his best to answer. Now, I know you play both retro and modern games. So let's start at the very beginning. What game consoles and or handhelds did you have growing up?
I actually had... I actually had Ataris. Those were my first ones. But I guess I would say the one that really got me into it was absolutely the NES. I did have the Atari, I believe, the 5200, I believe, is the one that I had.
The newer one.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get to play your Atari as much as you wanted to?
As a kid, yes, I was allowed to play games whenever I wanted. Yes, so I could play them whenever.
Makes me a bit envious then.
I'm sorry?
That makes me a bit envious then.
Well, to be fair, it kind of changed with the NES because there was an instant where I had allowed my grades to slip. My mom and dad were disappointed with that, and then they basically changed it to where I can only play during the weekends.
Oh, that's kind of like me. I could only play for around 3 hours during the weekends on the Famicom.
If I'm being honest, I think it's a good thing. I love my games. I love my games as much as the next guy, but you don't want kids to just be doing that all the time. If I can give a small analogy, a perfect example of that was when I was working at a cable company, and a client would call in and they were butthurt because their internet and TV services weren't working. And the first thing out of their mouth is, my internet and TV aren't working. How am I supposed to have my kids, busy? And the first thing that came to my mind was, make them read a fucking book, make them go outside. Like,
I
learn how to
suppose.
fucking learn how to parent. Like, what the hell? What are you doing? So no, I mean, I think it's. I think games are great. I will, of course, defend them from people that want to have bad opinions of them because I think gaming can be great. It's a very good medium for storytelling. It's something that when people enjoy their games, it's something that they're always going to want to share with their friends, with their family, especially when they play a game that's important to them or that they've always enjoyed. If the game has a particularly good story, things of that nature. But, you know, I'd be lying if I said that it doesn't have its negatives, that it can be, addicting in a bad way when you have people like, mind if I say a quick story about that actually?
Yes, go ahead.
You might actually find it funny. There was it's back when I was in the military. I was in Dam Neck, Virginia, and I was training for my specialty for working on NATO Sea Sparrow surface missile system. And one of my friends, he he played EverQuest, so classic MMO on PC.
Yep.
So he had me interested in the game because of everything he can do in it. He also mentioned that it was pretty interesting how the community was. It was very tight knit. But we wanted to go see the Pearl Harbor movie. And we also wanted to go out into town. One of our guys had a car. He lived in the area. He knew where to go. So we were going to go to a nice area to go eat. Going to go watch a movie and just go hang out. Get out of get off the base. Because in Virginia, you have to have a car. If you don't have a car, you're not going anywhere.
Big
So
place, huh?
friend didn't want to go. He just
It's a big place.
It's not that so much that it's a big. It's not so much that it's a big place, but it's not like here in New York where I can just walk to wherever I want, or I have easy access to public service,
Okay.
like a bus, a train. It's not really like that in VA. So you have to have a car out there. Now, the guy didn't want to go because he wanted to play EverQuest. So we were like, okay, fine. So any time we wanted to go somewhere, we wanted to do something, he would always refuse because he's playing EverQuest. So me and my friends, most of us are gamers, and we were kind of starting to get worried that this is turning into a health issue. So one day we're like, listen, we're taking this guy with us. We're gonna take him out. Enough of this. And one of the times before the time that we decided to do so was when he said no. We said, yo, let's go get something to eat. I'm sure you're bored of eating. No, I got plenty of food. And he just points to a whole stack of sodas and a couple noodles, like instant ramen. So we're like, whatever. Then the day that we finally decided that, listen, we're gonna take this guy out. He goes. He says he doesn't want to. He's playing EverQuest, and I'm like, listen, come on, bro. You're always doing that. Like, let's go get something to eat. It's like, I know you're hungry. You haven't eaten all day. And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. And I swear, right when he says that, his stomach calls BS on him and growls. So I'm like, yo. And then I look at the screen. He was playing EverQuest, and it had a timer in the game where the game will tell you that you've been playing for too long. I think it says something along the line of, your characters get tired, but so do you. Go outside. And I'm like, bro, the game just called BS on you. Your stomach just called BS on you. Your food is calling BS on you. Come on, man. Let's go out and chill. Didn't want to. So me and my friends, we basically just said, screw it. We grabbed this boy, picked him up, locked him off, and literally dragged him out of his room. And he's over here kicking and screaming, but he's too much of a wimp. He can't do anything about it. They got 4 grown men with this scrawny kid. He ain't going nowhere. He's going with us. One of the chiefs who was on duty, he's looking at us. He's like, yo, it's like, shipmates, what are y'all doing? He's like, getting our shipmate a life, chief. And he just looks at us like we're crazy. He's like, you know what? I'm not even gonna argue. I ain't got time for this. He's like, go ahead. He's like, go ahead. So we're literally carrying him. And we're obviously making a bit of a scene. It's embarrassing. And then he finally calms down. He's like, all right, stop. I'll go with you. Stop. I give up. So we all look at each other. We're like, I bet. We're going to give him the benefit of that. We're going to trust him. We put him down. He starts walking with us. And then when we get within a few feet of the car, my man turns around and books it. Now, I'm saying he turns around and ran away, but That was a pretty pathetic attempt at running away. Like this was literally like something out of Looney Tunes. Like he's the cat that's trying to run away from Pepe Le Pew, and we're just casually just following him. Like, come on, bro, don't do that. Bro runs over to his room, swipes in, locks the door, and then you see him just. I've never seen someone so desperately turning on their computer. And mind you, this is like back in the early 2000s, so PCs weren't super fast at this point.
Pearl Harbor.
Finally sees us, and we're.
Yeah, you mentioned Pearl Harbor, so yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the movie we were going to watch. Yeah, so it's like we're looking at him like, "Come on, bro, are you serious?" And then he just looks at us with this complete look of utter disgust. Walks up to his window and just puts the blinders on, and I'm assuming he went back to playing his game. And I'm like, you know what? At least I didn't. But we just stopped talking to him after that point because this is like, you know what? Like, that was probably one of the first times I started being a little bit disillusioned about games. Like I still play games pretty frequently, but that was one of those instances where I was just like, I can't let myself get like that. I guess I've never. I didn't even know about that term at that point. So it's just like that was just kind of crazy. It's just like, bro did not want to go anywhere. I swear I don't remember seeing him ever again after that. Like I don't remember interacting with him at that point. I'm pretty sure he had a different specialty, so he was training for something else. So it makes sense, but it was kind of disappointing, honestly, because he wasn't a bad person, and he did show me some pretty interesting things about EverQuest, like how one guy had was a complete a-hole, and the entire server, because of the fact that this guy was such a jerk, literally the entire server in an MMO refused to play with him. He had to talk to the DMs to get himself transferred to a different server. And the other server only gave him a chance strictly because he had to go through that level of trouble. And they were like, listen, you're going to have to learn to not be an a-hole, because you screw up once, then we're not going to play with you either. So I thought it was, that was pretty interesting that he introduced me to that sort of thing. But other than that, it's just like, come on, bro, it's not that serious, man. Don't let yourselves get like that when it comes to games, friends. It's not healthy.
I guess he was going all YOLO.
There's a lot.
Yeah, YOLO.
Literally.
You only live online.
Word.
Anyways.
Oh no, that's a good one.
Yeah, I tend to abuse that. Like, you only lolly online. That's me.
There you go. That works too.
So anyways, looks like you have some questions from the chat. So, Snatcher or Police Knots from LVP?
Snatcher.
Okay.
Snatcher.
Snatcher. Final Fantasy or Tales from Nagato?
That's a bit unfair because I haven't played enough Tales games. That's the Tales games I've played. I did enjoy. I played Tales of Destiny, the one with Stan as the main character.
Yep.
But even then, I did also play the one on GameCube. But no, I would prefer Final Fantasy. Same thing with Final Fantasy over Dragon Quest.
Okay, Peach or Daisy?
That's a difficult question.
Harris 218.
Peach, because she got that dumpy.
Don't they both?
I'm pretty sure Peach has the bigger dumpy.
Alright. Hey, DJ Ronnie. And,
DJ, just for reference, my avatar is a reference to E.O. Fleming's portrait in Gundam Extreme Versus.
Oh, I see.
If you hear jazz, it'll be your exit music.
Okay, next question. Did you get to play in the arcades as well?
Absolutely. Both in America and in Japan. Great times.
Awesome. So, what kind of games did you play back then in the arcades?
So, close to where I live, there was a little taxi base. So they had a Cruisin' USA, and then they also had a Street Fighter Alpha machine.
Oh,
They had a
nice.
machine that would usually have Capcom games, so it would be either like Street Fighter Alpha, X-Men versus just had Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes. Then it had Street Fighter Alpha. Then it had X-Men versus Street Fighter. Then they also had, of course, the classic, everyone's favorite, the Neo Geo arcade machine, which had four games. It was a toss-up on two games, but the third game would always be Bust a Move or Puzzle Bobble, and then the fourth game would always be Metal Slug. Actually, no, excuse me. It was four games. It was going to have something, King of Fighters, Metal Slug, Puzzle Bobble every time.
All right, that's a good variety of games. So, I know you play a lot of fighting games. For the X-Men versus or Marvel versus style of games, where did you learn the magic system from?
Magic system for which game? Oh, like the
Uh,
Magic series for combos?
yeah, magic series for combos.
I believe the first game I played that involved the Magic series would be X-Men Children of the Atom.
But it's kind of different, isn't it, from the Marvel versus games?
Yes, because in X-Men Children of the Atom, you actually were not able to do air combos. They did have launchers, but if you hit them once in the air, it sent them flying.
Yep.
It sent them down.
So, where did you learn how to do those, the magic series?
And then, the one that really got me into it more, though, was honestly, Melty Blood, especially with the regular Magic series plus Reverse Beat.
Oh yes, yes. I didn't realize that Melty Blood, like the first game, actually uses the same combo system as the Marvel versus games, and I was quite surprised when I tried that, because I didn't know anything about the game. I just know it had buttons, and I was like, I'm gonna just press buttons and see what happens. I was like, wait, why did that connect? It actually works. So, where did you first, did anyone teach you about the Magic series of combos?
No, nope, I figured it out.
Oh,
Back then we were playing for turns. So we were pretty cutthroat. A lot of people way back when, it's a lot different than it is now. Way back when, a lot of people, they didn't share information. If someone figured out something cheap, you best believe we're keeping it. We're not telling nobody because we want to win.
Yep. But one of my classmates actually did teach me how to do that. I think it was from an EGM or Game Pro magazine as well that he got it from.
That's good. Like I said, we usually figured it out. And then, like me, I didn't care. So if I figured something out, I would tell people. That's just how I did it. But it really depends on the game that people play. Like in Tekken, everybody just picked certain characters. Everybody mainly just picked Law because it was easy to just spam combos with him. And then if they were not good at landing combos, and they would just pick Paul and just spam Death Fist because it was easy and did mad damage. Nobody really, but we didn't really play Tekken like that in my area. It was mainly like one of the Street Fighters or maybe Mortal Kombat. But it was mainly Street Fighter and then a mix of KOF.
I see.
Not a lot of people really play fighting games around my area.
So we got a question from LDP. Ever played Brutal Paws of Fury?
No, that game I did not play.
Okay, I played it.
I'm not a furry.
Yeah, I played it LDP. It's just button mashing the game. There's no real system to it. Just mash buttons until you win. Yep.
Mash until it works, baby. Churn that butter.
Yeah, do some quarter circles and stuff. It'll work. So from the 8, 16, 32-bit era, can you select one game from each era that you feel is a must-play for fans from any generation?
Okay. 8, 16, and 32. All right. So for 8-bit, my personal favorite 8-bit game is Mega Man 2. That's my personal favorite game in the NES.
Mega Man.
Absolutely. That game is probably the main reason I got hooked on games. The only game that I would put on equal footing with that game is likely... No, you said only one, so we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, Mega Man 2 for 8-bit.
Right.
For 16-bit, this one's a little harder because in my, the 16-bit era was quite frankly amazing. Sega on the Genesis and the SNES, they were both producing an excellent array of games. Like, there's just so many games to choose from on many genres, so that's really difficult. But if I have to pick just one, Super Metroid. That would be my pick. I will go with Super Metroid. Yeah. Although,
excellent choice.
Yeah, I think I go with Super Metroid because I think that one. The reason being is because I know not everybody likes platformers, but at the same time, not everybody likes RPGs, and I feel that game, if you really think about it, it's kind of a happy medium because you have platforming, but then you also have the kind of progression that you would get from RPGs. Granted, you're finding things as opposed to leveling up by just beating stuff up, but you have clear progression. You're able to explore. It's mostly non-linear, except for certain points. There's a sense of exploration. There's there's a clear challenge. Like, there's a lot you can do in that game. And even though I think Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance handles better, especially with the wall jumps, Super Metroid is just like it's actually an incredible game. So that'll be my pick for the 16-bit
and the 32-bit
for the 16-bit games. Now for 32, this is the genre, or excuse me, that is the 32-bit. That would be for the Sega Saturn, Sony PlayStation, and Nintendo 64.
Yep.
I am going to go ahead and pick a game that nobody's going to expect.
Okay.
Personally. Actually, no, I guess for people who know me, they'll probably say that. But this is actually harder also, because this is where Sony blew up. Nintendo lost the seat at the throne, and then Sega started really falling behind. But each of them still produced very, very solid games. This one's a little harder. But I'm going to go away from picking a common known game for the SNES and actually pick one that's not so common for the PlayStation. And that one is Armored Core. Not everybody played Armored Core. But I think Armored Core. No, I'm kidding. That's what you thought I was going to say. I'm actually going to pick Iron Hunter.
No.
I'm going to pick Iron Hunter. I was going to pick between Armored Core, Iron Hunter, or Silent Bomber, but I'm going to pick Iron Hunter.
Sad.
Because I'm going to continue with my meme of saying that Iron Hunter is Square's best game. So let me explain myself.
Okay.
Iron Hunter is similar to Ridge Racer on the PlayStation 1. It has one loading screen at the beginning, and after that, you play the game straight. This game is a shoot 'em up, side scroller. It comes from a company. It comes from a company that doesn't make shoot 'em ups. It has a sense of progression, sort of, given that you can take weapons Mega Man style from opponents. Has a bitchin' soundtrack. You can vary your speed as you wish, and a benefit that I'll give it over games like, let's say, Gradius, where you need to get power-ups, where if you get late in the game and you don't have power-ups, you may as well start over if you're not really good at the game. But in this game, you're always able to compete. So yeah, I think that would be the game I would recommend. But the reason why is not just because the game is good, but it's because I feel the game represents something that a lot of companies nowadays have forgotten about.
Yeah.
and that is, I feel a lot of companies nowadays, they don't take risks anymore.
Oh, I see.
None of them take none of them take risks anymore. The only companies that I guess you can recommend, I'm sorry, that you can say are sort of kind of taking risks, are companies like Ubisoft, but that's not really so much they're taking a risk, so much as they're just being stupid.
Okay.
But look at Nintendo. Where's the next Kid Icarus? The one on DS is good. What are they making? Mario, Zelda, Mario, Zelda, Mario, Zelda. Oh, hey, Mario Kart, Mario, Zelda, Mario, Zelda. Where's Star Fox? Where's F-Zero? Like, cool. Okay. Oh, look, it's Kirby. Nobody cares about Kirby. You know, they're just sticking to what they're just sticking to what's safe, what sells. You know, they're not. They're
Pokemon.
not. Hmm? Yeah. Oh yeah, Pokemon. Yeah. Yeah, but Pokemon's so damn generic at this point. Like, I don't even care about Pokemon no more. Pokemon fell off. When's Pal World 2? But yeah, I think Iron Hunter is a great example because at that time frame, Square was doing whatever the hell they wanted. You know, yeah, sure. Final Fantasy VII dropped and it was amazing. Then they made Final Fantasy Tactics. Then they made Guys. Then they made Parasite Eve. Then they made Bushido Blade. Then they had the Tobal games. Then you got Iron Hunter. It's just like, yo, like, they can do everything, it looked like.
They also made
You know,
hentai
that's when
games.
that probably, you know, I mean, that was peak. That was peak Square. It was peak Square.
Okay, we got a question from Logan. He says, do you agree with him that the Mega Buster ruined Mega Man games?
By Mega Buster, I'm assuming you mean the charge shot.
Yeah. That's
If
what
you
he
mean the
means.
charge, if you mean the charge shot, no, I think it's perfectly fine. I think the charge shot's perfectly fine. Heck, if anything, in the earlier Mega Man games, if you got hit, you lost your charge. So I figure maybe they should have brought that back to make the games a little tougher. Where if you're holding a charge and you get hit, you get interrupted. I thought that might be a good idea, but maybe not.
I think it means that it ruins the game because you can just use the Mega Buster to beat the game instead of going by the order of the bosses and using their weapons against them.
I disagree because certain boss fights are trivialized by using the special weapon. So you having the Mega Buster as an option to potentially make the game a little more challenging for yourself or to allow you freedom of how you go through stages is a superior idea. You can also change it and mix it up by doing what they did in Mega Man Powered Up. In Mega Man Powered Up, for example, if you fought the bosses, what would end up happening is if you beat them with their weakness, you simply destroy them. Whereas if you beat them with just your Mega Buster, Mega Man actually disables them. The robot is able to be taken to Dr. Wily,
Yep.
repaired, and then you can play as them. So there's different mechanics you can do around it. So I think this is one of those instances where more is actually more and not going with less is more. I think the charge shot is a good idea.
Alright, there's your answer, Logan.
That's a good question, though. Not gonna lie, that is a good question. I feel you on that.
What is your favorite genre of games and what is your least favorite genre?
Favorite genre? I'm gonna have to go with action adventure because most of them tend to be that. You know, Mega Man, Guardian Legend, Zelda, Metroid. Those kind of games tend to be my favorite. So I think it's probably that. Least favorite? I don't think I really have a least favorite.
Okay.
I don't really care. I mean, I'll try a game at least once, as long as it's not bad. But that's not, you know, saying bad game, that's not really a genre. I guess maybe games that are like really open world, I think they bore me after a certain point.
Same.
You have to do something. You can't just make an open world game and just make it no, now I got it. Yes. MMO light. It's a game that plays like an MMO but isn't an MMO. It's not so much that I don't like them, but I feel like they get boring very quickly. Like, for example, look at Hogwarts Legacy. It's an open world game. You can do all this stuff, but then you're making potions, and then you gotta wait for X amount of time for them to be completed. It's just like, come on, get out of here with that, dog. Nobody cares about that.
What did
Like,
you think?
let me just make the thing. Like, let me just make the thing now. This is an RPG,
Okay.
or rather, excuse me, this isn't an MMO or some gacha game where you gotta pay to make stuff speed up. Come on now.
Halo, Katsu. What did you think of Final Fantasy 12 then?
Good question. Good question. I thought the game was good. I think some people hated it for no reason. I thought the game wasn't bad. It's all right.
But it's an MMO light, isn't it? It's an
It's an
MMO that's not online.
it's an MMO light, but I found it tolerable. I don't think it was that bad, at least for the time. It may have. I think maybe if I play it again now, it might age poorly, but I don't think it was bad for when I played it.
All right. So, you know that I don't like classic style platformers, right? So if you wanted to change my mind a bit, what game would you recommend?
Definitely not Castlevania. So, if I'm not mistaken, you prefer being able to adapt,
Yep.
as opposed to having things memorized.
Yep.
And I think that's a valid reasoning, because you want to be able to beat it via skill. I think you prefer skill over memorization, and I think that's fair. So in that regard, I guess it's more of a running gun than an action platformer, but I think I would probably recommend Gunstar Heroes. Both of them, actually.
Yeah.
Because Gunstar Heroes, you can adapt and you can beat the game without having to memorize things. Like some of the bosses, you'll have enough life to be able to adapt to them and do what you have to do to still win. So I guess it's sort of kind of not really, well, no, it's more of a running gun than a platformer. So I guess that doesn't really count. I guess the other one I would recommend would actually be Silent Bomber. Silent Bomber is platformer / running gun also, but you can adapt in that game as well.
Is it a platformer? That is more like a top down.
Sort of, kind of, yeah. It's more top down. That's actually a little rough now that I think about it. Let me think. Okay, I think Gunstar Superheroes, even though it's running gun, it feels more like a platformer sometimes. So that will be one that I could recommend. Another one would be... Question: how do you feel about roguelites?
I find them tolerable, but most of the time I don't like them.
Okay, no. So if that's the case, then I probably wouldn't. Then I probably can't recommend in good faith 30XX, because 30XX is like a Mega Man game, but with roguelike elements. So
yeah, I don't like the randomization in roguelikes. I don't like the randomization in roguelikes.
I hear that. Yeah, I get that, because that does add a factor of RNG. But then the reason why I do like it is because it still allows you to play skillfully and adapt.
It's like, there's this DLC for Mortal Shell. I enjoyed that game. It's Souls-like. And then the DLC was they just added a roguelike version to the game. So you get random enemies, you get random power-ups, and you just try to make it as far as you can. I was like, what? That's the DLC? Wow, screw you, game.
Yeah, I prefer having a game where you can actually get to the end. But as far as like action platformers, then I would say like it's specifically an action platformer, then probably Mega Man X. Namely because
I have finished that.
You have
good. I have finished that, so good suggestion.
So the reason why I would recommend the original Mega Man X is because the original Mega Man X is probably the best one in the series. It doesn't hold your hand. It has fair enough challenge. You can beat everything with the Buster if you so choose, or you can use special weapons if you want to. If you memorize the game, then you know that if you beat certain stages first, it'll affect other stages. For example, if you finish Storm Eagle stage first, then it would damage Spark Mandrill stage, making it easier for you. If you stuff like that. So you can do that if you want to. So I think that one would be a pretty good example. It also has a bit of RPG-ish elements because you can find items that make yourself stronger. So I think that would probably be a good example. The other one I would recommend is probably Metroid Fusion, because Metroid Fusion is probably one of the games where skill is actually involved. That one in Dread, but I don't have a Switch. I haven't played Dread, so I can't really say for sure. I would recommend Fusion because in Fusion, I think skill is a factor. You can't just stack everything and survive. The SAX will whoop your ass if you're careless. There are instances where you have to flee, and it is story relevant. The movement is very responsive, which I think is important to be able to convince a player to enjoy these kinds of games. Your progression, even though the game is a bit more linear for my tastes, I think in this game thematically it makes sense. And again, the fact of skillful play is there more in Fusion than it is in Metroid, in Super Metroid. In Super Metroid, you're an unstoppable force. I'm sorry. You're pretty much an unstoppable force. You have plenty of health. You're very tough. And if, let's say, for example, you're running low on health, the game will always have bad guys drop health for you. Or if your health is full, then they'll always drop missiles. You're always going to get stuff that's relevant. But in Fusion, it's the same way, yeah. But I feel like you're always in a bit of a state of vulnerability until you're like very, very deep in the game. So it keeps a proper tension and a proper level of challenge, and it's just difficult enough to where you'll be pushed. And I think players should be pushed in an action platformer. But the things that involve memorization isn't so much that you have to get it from having played. It's more, I have to figure out how to get past this, the little puzzle sections. But then for the bosses, you have enough health to figure out what's going on. It's not so much trial and error, die repeatedly. It's just maybe you might die like that once or twice from the SAX, but you already have the tools. The game explains it to you anyway. So by the time it comes, you know this. I'm sorry. Did you play Metroid Fusion by any chance?
Yep. I have.
Okay. So for people that may have not played it, the SAX is basically an X enemy that is mimicking Samus. The problem is, it's mimicking you at full power, and you are in an extremely vulnerable state. So your navigator straight up tells you, listen, you can't fight this. If you see it, run. And it's true, because at this point, you've adapted Metroid DNA into Samus. She has also picked up their weakness to cold. You have no chance of fighting her. If she catches you early on, she's going to freeze you. She's going to pick her missile, and she's going to blow up almost all your health in one hit. And then if she freezes you again, you're dead. So you have no choice but to run the first time. From there, later on, you get an upgrade that turns your missiles into freezing missiles, because your DNA is rejecting the ice beam. So what happens? Cool. You hit him with the freeze missile. You notice that she gets out of it very, very quickly. So you, as long as you're not an idiot, you realize, hey, if I hit him with this, I can get away. So if you get caught the first time and you panic, that's on you. That's not really you not being skillful or anything. It's just, hey, look, you panicked. Okay, that's okay. Now you know better. You hit him with the freeze, you run away. You hit him with the freeze, you run away. You figure out where you gotta go, you make a snap decision, great. So I think that would be the other game I would recommend if the person doesn't like action platformers and at least want to keep some level of challenge. But other than that, it would be that, Gunstar Superheroes, and Mega Man X. Those would be the three I would recommend.
Alrighty. I don't really consider Metroid Fusion much of a platformer. Because, I kinda consider Metroidvanias to be, their own genre. As you probably know, I like the Metroidvania genre. But I hate the classic style platformers. The ones with bottomless pits, limited lives, etc.
And timers.
Yeah, timers as well. Hey, Junior.
Timers.
Welcome.
Timers in those games are stupid. There, I said it.
It's kind of fun in the NES nice remake of that one Mario game, though. For the PC-88. It kind of makes sense because PC-88 Mario game is just stupidly hard for no reason.
I actually, you know what? I like games that are challenging, but I feel like games that are just hard to beat for the sake of being hard is it's not really interesting. It's like, oh yeah, the game beat my ass. Like, I guess it's novel for stuff like Dark Souls or whatever, but that's more of a game trying to teach you to stop panicking and just pay attention. It's really what it is.
How do you feel about the frustration-based games? Like getting over it, Jump King, you know.
Not my cup of tea.
Alright.
I'm playing games to chill out. If I want a challenge, I'll play a game that's for challenge. I don't want to play a game that's intently trying to tick me off. It's like, what's the point?
Right.
If I wanted to get ticked off, I'll go talk to an idiot in customer service.
Fair point. So do you believe that console and game development, no, just console first, console development has reached a stagnation point?
Absolutely. There's no point in talking about graphics this, graphics that. It's at this point that now the only thing they can do is make characters uglier. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, I kind of feel
literally
the same
nobody
way.
wants that. I think at this point, I think game companies are going to end up starting to bring back old games because now it's becoming less and less of a point. You know, consoles have to offer something specific that PC cannot provide. And I think that would be something like security to prevent hackers or, access to games that are not available on PC. And they also have to offer things that are much more reliable. I'm looking at you, drifting Joy-Cons.
About the Steam Deck.
Because right now, I don't really feel like there's a purpose to having a console. Like, I have the PS5. The only reason I have a PS5 is because my brother, I told him, hey, listen, my PS4 just died. This sucks. And he was like, then not even 10 minutes later, he tells me, okay, your PS5 is on the way. There you go. That's the only reason I have a PS5.
Awesome. So what do you think was the peak of the console gaming generations?
Hot take, SNES.
SNES. Why is that?
The sheer magnitude of good games that was in it. Or excuse me, not just SNES, but rather the 16-bit era. I think the 16-bit era was peak gaming. The reason why is because of the following. Games that were great on the 8-bit consoles and the 16-bit consoles had one thing in common. They had extreme limitations. And people that created the games, they had to be very, very creative. So with the 8-bit consoles, the 16-bit consoles, the handhelds with the Game Boy, for example, they had to be very creative. It's unfortunate that some games aged poorly or were extremely limited because of the limitations. For example, Phantasy Star 3, mostly considered the black sheep of the franchise. I think that game is a game that should have been made in more current consoles where memory limitations would have not gotten in the way. Hint, hint, Sega, make a fucking remake of 3 and 4. Do it, you cowards. But you look at games like, for example, Pokemon, right? The sequel to Pokemon, that game ended up being ginormous because we were lucky to have someone like Iwata, may he rest in peace, to work his magic on that. But then you have people but look at this, put it this way. All I got to do to tell you why is because of the following. Can you guys name me a theme from a video game from a current generation that is anywhere near as memorable as this? Do 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 do. I did that, and you already know what it is.
Yep. It was Final Fantasy.
I can hum a tune from the NES or SNES era, and odds are y'all will probably know it. It may not be the same for games of this current generation. So those games had limitations, and that forced creators to be creative. I think that's why retro-styled games are doing so well nowadays, because those games, indie games or retro games, even if they are of questionable quality or they may have some sort of controversy. For example, I'm sure you guys have heard of the Bloodborne demake. The person who made that game is a very controversial figure
I have
because
no idea.
because that person is that person, as an example, that person is LGBT and is seemingly rather obnoxious on Twitter. But
Oh.
regardless of whether you agree with that person's lifestyle or not, I cannot deny it. They did a great job with that Bloodborne demake, and then they turned it into a freaking go-kart game. They made Bloodborne kart. They had to change the name for legal reasons, but I had to give them props. And I'm like, oh, that was well made. But then you look at games that are also in the retro style, like 30XX. You look at Blaster Master Zero. You look at, for example, people didn't like Mighty Number 9, but then they put the character in one of the, I think it was either in one of the Blaster Master games or one of the little Gunvolt games, and everyone looks at the character positively there. You look at Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight did well. You look at Celeste. Most people don't, that Celeste involves a trans character. And even though that stuff can be controversial, no one cares because Celeste is a good game. So it's like I feel like people put effort into those games and those games get remembered. Another good example would be, even though the game was only, it ran its course, but look at Shotgun Roulette or any game that guy's made. They're quick, they're cheap, they're to the point, and they're all excellent in their own way. It's actual art. I also do want to give special mention to the PlayStation 1's era. I think the PlayStation really did cause an explosion for people. I think that was the gamer moment for a generation. It came out at the right time. It had the right games come out at the right time. So that one was also very impactful. But I think peak was SNES, was the 16-bit era. Nintendo and Sega were at the height of their powers, in my opinion, and I think they brought out the best of each other with constant games. SNES had Final Fight. Sega Genesis had Streets of Rage. SNES had Final Fantasy IV, had Final Fantasy VI. Sega Genesis is like, here we have we got Fantasy Star 4. Hold that. You got Mario on one end, you got Sonic on the other. Both of them had Street Fighter. Each one had their own bangers. So, you can go from there. After that one, I would then say the PlayStation 1's era was very good. But actually, no. I think the era where the PlayStation 2 was up was probably better. PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox 360, or the Xbox, Xbox original. Though that was a good strong generation as well. But I prefer where we're at the height of their powers, where they have to be creative. And I also have to give special mention to the Game Boy Advance. The Game Boy Advance was an incredible console. It did a lot. I mean, not to knock the DS or the 3DS, but the Game Boy Advance was such a leap from the original Game Boy. It was actually insane. And I think it's actually hilarious that the Game Gear could not hold a candle to the Game Boy. And then the Game Boy Advance came out and it just dragon punched out of existence. And I also have to say it's actually hilarious how Sony had a chance with the PSP. They fumbled the bag. Then they had a chance with the Vita. Then they also fumbled the bag. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Whoever was in charge of that stuff with the games that it had, they should have been slapped, fired, rehired, and fired again because they fumbled that bag badly.
With the Vita, I think they did fire the PR guy for it. He's into making an indie game now. It was Shahid Kamal Ahmad.
Oh, good luck for him, I guess.
Yeah, everyone was talking trash about Shahid because all he cared about was getting a lot of indie games into the Vita.
Okay. Could have done good.
People were looking for the AAA, the next God of War, the Armored Core, the big stuff.
I think that's the other problem with games nowadays. Everybody wants to make the next big game. Nobody cares about that. We want a good game. We don't care if the game is a bazillion hours, a quadruple A game with a crap load of investment and timer. We just make a good game. Let's make a good game first, bro. Like, seriously, come on. Like, do you really, like, everybody is running, like, I remember when the company started talking about how nobody wants to play single player games. Armored Core 6 sold well. You know, you have games like Shantae coming out that do well. Sekiro did well. Dark Souls did well. Demon Souls did well. Zelda did well. Damn, all these single player games, huh, guys?
Speaking of Sekiro, have you played Anime Girl Sekiro?
Which one's that one?
Let me check. It's in my game, in my list of my library of games. It's called Kanagi Usagi. It's just all boss fights. Just all 1v1 boss fights.
No, that I haven't played. No.
It's
Wait, I gotta go back on the PS1 about that. I gotta say that again.
Yes.
The PlayStation 1 was also a fantastic console because of some of the games they made. Like Metal Gear Solid was mind blowing to me when it came out. That game played like a freaking movie. But then there was a couple of games that were adjacent to it that I think also deserve respect.
Siphon Filter.
And that is
No, not Siphon Filter.
Yes, Siphon Filter was great, and I don't care what I will defend the original Siphon Filter. And then the other one is Tenchu Stealth Assassins. That game had some jank. But I thought the game was actually pretty well done. I thought the game was well done. I thought it was pretty cool.
I was kind of disappointed when I played the PSP Tenchu, actually. I was like, why do I have to hide in these particular shadows which the game is pointing out for me? Why can't I just hide wherever I want to?
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing with that. They really should have just refined the original Tenchu to make it less jank. And then it would have been fine.
Yeah.
That's another that right there, that's what we call a bag fumble.
Use the PSP's superior graphics, capabilities and stuff, and just refine the controls a bit, but retain the gameplay. I think it was like Tenchu was like that Assassin's Creed, right? In the way it played, but it went in a completely different direction with the newer games, like starting with the PSP era, PS2, PSP era. It's like, what is this? You get found here. It's an instant mission failed. I was like, oh, come on. Hey, Metal Storm, and LDP has some questions. Let's see. Have I played Pokemon Mystery Dungeon? I have not. I think LDP had a question for you. Where was it? Never mind. I can't find it. So let's move on. Do you believe that modern games have also reached a stagnation point?
Yes. Too many of them are focused on monetization as opposed to making a good game. I think the guy who was talking about Pal World, I think that he was asked like, oh, what about monetization? What about this and that? And he was just like, dude, if you like our game, great, thanks. Play our game, enjoy our game. And then if you're done with the game, put it down. Maybe you'll come back and play later. That's cool too. I think people need to look at it as that people don't want to make a game for the sake of making a game. Everybody now is trying way too hard to find a game that they can perma monetize. And that's bad. I understand that companies want to make money, but you're going to make money if you make good games. If you're making a game where the main intention is to monetize the living daylights out of it, you're going to run into a problem. You're running into it now. Look at the hero shooters right now. You have Overwatch, you have Apex Legends, and then you have Team Fortress 2. So all of them are free to play. Team Fortress is whatever. Overwatch is whatever, and then Apex Legends is one where you like specifically team up with people. Okay, cool. But then Concord, not even talking about the questionable art designs. I don't even care about that. But you look at Concord. Concord comes in. You come in, you have a $40 price tag, and then on top of the $40 price tag, you have microtransactions that are going to be added in. Why is anybody going to play your game? You're thinking monetization, monetization, monetization. You put all this time into the game, and you never thought to stop and think and look and say, hey, listen, trends are changing. We can't release this game as a $40 game anymore. We got to switch and go to free to play. Hey, these are the things that these people are liking. We should probably adapt some of that. No, you just went head in the sand. Now you got a gigantic flop. I think the same thing happens with a lot of other games. Everyone's trying too hard to make a permanent game. People don't seem to realize that those games already have a grip. You know, you have Fortnite. Fortnite has an iron grip on that. You're not competing with that. You know, the only game right now that's recently like that seems to be having a chance at breaking new ground is I think it's called Deadlock. It's like a third-person shooter / MOBA. That one seems to be doing well right now. Because the only other game I can think of that's similar to that is Smite. That's like the only one.
Like a Farlight 84 seems to be super popular here. Mostly because you can play it on both mobile and PC.
That works. I think the other problem too is I think gacha games. I know I play some of them, so I'm not trying to sound hypocritical, but I think gacha games have also hurt the games industry.
Ah, yes.
I absolutely think it has, because unfortunately, these are games that are very easy to make, and then they just tack on a metric ton of monetization on it.
Yeah.
And people buy it. Hate to say it, but people buy it.
They do.
So
it's called whaling.
So people, they convince people to whale, and some people whale. Like, I've spent some on some games, but nowhere near what some of these nut jobs has done. I'm sure y'all have heard of Monkeygate, which ended up causing changes to the gacha system. Thank God it happened, because if Monkeygate never happened, I think gacha games, actually no, I think it's bad. I think gacha games would have died eventually if Monkeygate never happened. Actually, y'all ever heard of Monkeygate?
I have not.
Okay, so Monkeygate is a reference to what happened in the gacha game. What's it called? Grand Blue Fantasy. So a character came out, Andira. She is referred to as a zodiac character. So she represents the year of the monkey. Cute girl. She also references King of Fighters. She does one of Andy Bogart's moves for her super move. All of the zodiac girls do. Kumbira is best girl because she has huge boobs. But anyway, the one person wanted.
I like Narmaya.
Oh yeah. Narmaya's gorgeous. Yeah. Ooh, excuse me. But basically, what happened is, someone messaged me, but I'll get that later. But what ended up happening is this person, right, spent, I think it was, this happened back in 2016, I think it is. And he spent, he eventually got Andira. She's a cute character. I think you'd like her, actually, though. He got her.
Yeah?
After spending about 6,000 American dollars. Japanese guy.
Stupid.
So, background, right? The overall rate of pulling an SSR in Grand Blue Fantasy is 3% or 6% on special occasions. And there's so many SSR. But the thing is that there's it is, but the problem is that there's so many SSRs and items in the pool that the individual rate for a specific character is less than 1%. So
okay.
The problem is that the player, he held up a stream during the banner where Andira and 2 other characters were all on rate up. So he rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls, and 2,000 rolls in, he still hasn't gotten a single copy of her. I mean, yeah, sure, random luck and whatever, but he had already gotten enough copies of the other characters. So either he was really unlucky or something was fucking fishy. Like I said, he didn't get her until $6,000. He streamed this. So if he hadn't streamed this, this probably would have not have gotten anywhere near attraction. But the thing is, it turns out that this guy, this wasn't an isolated incident. There was a lot of people doing this, and that's what caused a change to be made to gachas where they added the pity system. So speaking of which, I'll also post it here if you guys want to watch it. If you want to read it, it's just a Reddit thread, so you can read it there.
I see.
Yeah, ignoring that, as far as Grand Blue Fantasy, it does have a lot of really cool characters. If you like the lowlies, there's plenty of lowlies there. If you like the big booba,
I play the fighting game.
You know, or you can play the fighting game. You could do that too. But this is what Andira looks like. Since I was mentioning it, I do think she's actually kind of cute. She's legit cute. Give me a second, I'll post it. Like I said, I think you'd like her. Gerardo, was this before or after the EA Battlefront 2 scandal?
Yep.
By EA Battlefront 2 scandal, I'm assuming you're talking about sense of pride and accomplishment. Is that what you're talking about?
I have no idea. Hey, Sir Leon, welcome.
I think that's what you're talking about. But the whole thing with the sense of pride and accomplishment, that was 6 years ago. So Monkeygate was well before it. Pride and Accomplishment was about 7 years ago. No, wait. No. That was in 2017. So Monkeygate was 2016. Pride and Accomplishment was 2017. See, the thing is that EA is stupid. EA thinks they're invincible. Okay, really, and how you doing? And yeah, Relink is out there as well. So if you don't want to play the gacha game, you can play the fighting game, or you can play Relink.
I'm so out of
my favorite character as far as Grand Blue, she actually made it from a different game, but I like her because she is ultra cute. Actually, I like her a lot. She's one of my favorites. Her name is Fina. I not count as a lowly, but she is flat. But she is very, very cute. So I will post her too. She's super cute and pretty. I love her. But also hi Cerulean. But yeah, the whole thing with EA fucked up royally, because it's funny because EA used to be very, very good quality. You know, their Madden games were groundbreaking way back when. EA also brought us SSX Tricky, SSX3. NBA Street Volume 2 was a fantastic game. I think even people who don't like sports games would genuinely enjoy NBA Street Volume 2. And not only would they enjoy it because of the gameplay and the game's atmosphere, but it also had some very good music. The fact that they had classic hip hop with TROY as the main theme song for the game was a beautiful choice.
Speaking of SSX,
but yeah,
like I don't think there's been a new SSX game since forever, right?
Yeah. Also, Aris, excellent choice. Rieselin Stout is a lovely character. Love her to death. She's freaking gorgeous. But no, we haven't had a new SSX game.
Like I think it died with a PS2 or something. Or did they have?
No.
Did they have
I looked it up. The last game they had was back in 2012. They're not going to make another SSX. They can't monetize it. I'm pretty sure that's all EA thinks of at this point. They don't want to really make singular games. I think the only time that EA has actually done something good in that regard is when they were actually supporting some smaller developers to make some games. So I'll give them props on that. And yes, Cerulean, Yeast, Fina via Yeast, she's also gorgeous. Fina via Grand Blue Fantasy, she's just cute as a button. But yeah, Yeast Fina is gorgeous. So is her sister. They're both pretty. Play Yeast. It's a good game. Pump system. But you know, I think companies need to. I understand that they want to make their big AAA games, but you can't just go for the big one. You can't. You just can't. You have to make some small games. Like, let me give you an example. Capcom, they have their big games like Street Fighter 6. Great. Then every once in a while, they'll drop a Resident Evil. Great. Resident Evil is a big game, sure, but ultimately you can finish that game very quickly. Then we look at something a little smaller. Look at Bionic Commando Rearmed. We're not going to worry about Bionic Commando Rearmed 2. We don't talk about that game. But you look at Bionic Commando Rearmed. I don't know if you'll like that game because you don't like action platformer. You already are picky with action platformers. And then that game, you don't even have a jump button. You have to use the grapple. I think you might find that interesting once you get the hang of it since it's very skill involved. But, sorry, part of me feels like you might get annoyed with Bionic Commando. You know what? No, I think you won't like it, but you'll appreciate it. I think that's the best way to say it. It's not going to be like those other ones where you're just not going to straight up like it. I think you'll at least say, you know what? I don't like this game, but I can appreciate it for what it does because it's definitely unique. But you have that game, and then you have the game that you did try that you didn't like, which was the Strider game. You know, you didn't like Strider, but those games are small. They did decently. You know, those games are small. They did well.
So it's like
you can make a couple of small games. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can make a you can make a couple.
Where to go with Strider, which is why I stopped playing. I was like, well, where do I go? Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. You won't have to worry about getting lost in Bionic Commando Rearmed. That game was really. I thought that game was very. It's just it's got a learning curve to it. It's definitely not easy mode, but it has its moments. I think it's enjoyable. Let me think. But yeah, I think companies need to go back to making some games that are small and not just always going for the big hit. They also need they also need to stop being egregious with their sports games. The fact that Madden at this point is essentially a gacha game that only lasts 1 year is an insult. For those who don't know, if Madden comes out this year, for example, the game is the main way of playing online is with gacha. You have to make your own team. You got to pull. You got to spend money for pulls. The rates are horrible, yada, yada, yada. And then next year, Madden 26 comes out, and it is essentially the same game with a slightly updated roster, and all of your progression is gone, and you got to start over. It was so bad that one of the games that when they re-released it and you installed it on PC, the icon that appears on your board is the icon of the previous game's iteration. And one of the stadiums, if you look around, it would say, instead of Madden 2022, it would say Madden 2021. That's how lazy it was. And it's not just EA. The 2K games, they did that with one of their NBA games. They did it with NBA 2K whatever. And one of the previews of the game showed zero gameplay. All it showed was the various ways that the game was monetized and the various gacha mechanics. Literally slot machines. The whole thing where you drop a ball down like a bunch of sticks that will go bounce off of, that was sort of kind of like a pinball drop thing, like Slinko kind of thing, like from The Price is Right. There was a video where it was literally, I kid you not, nothing but just showing off all the ways you can spend money. And they paid influencers. I hate that term, but you know what I mean. And they pay, like, let's say, for example, like me, L, and LDP, we're all people that love playing, let's say, NBA 2K. They paid us to be in the commercial, acting like we're doing the pulls, and yes, and celebrating because we got the pulls. And they literally used their shills to do that. Insanity. Like, companies need to get away from that stuff. Like, I hate seeing that. It's horrible. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like, I understand, make your money, but you know, y'all gotta stop treating us as consumers. We're customers. We're not consumers.
Okay.
And I see LDP mentioning NBA Jam and Blades of Steel. Yes, bring back the goofy shit. Bring back the goofy shit. I had so much more. I never really played any of the NBA lives. I played NBA Street. I played NBA Street Volume 2 specifically because 1 was boring to me and 3 was whatever. NBA Street Volume 2, SSX 3. You make sports games like that, you'll get people playing them. Or you have to make them with inherent charm. Like, look, I know most people here probably don't like boxing. But Punch-Out on the Wii, art. All the characters are lovable in their own way. All of them were interesting. Now, like, all this other stuff is boring. Just boring.
How do you feel about the indie gaming, the indie game market? How do you feel about it?
I think the indie game market is the only reason the gaming is still doing well. I think indie gaming has more heart than a lot of the games that are coming up now from big companies. With the exception of garbage like Dustborn. That shit deserves to fail, and fail it did.
You mentioned that yesterday. What is it? You mentioned that yesterday. What is it?
Okay, so let me sell you on Dustborn. Dustborn is a game. It's not an American game, but it is basically hold on, let me find out who made it so this can make it even funnier for you. Okay. Dustborn was made by a Norwegian studio called Red Thread Games.
I remember now.
This game received. So get this. This game received government funding.
Yeah, I remember now.
Okay. So there you go. So that game is basically what people think America is nowadays. It is insanity. Like it's terrible. The game is extremely linear.
I'd like to acknowledge War Chief Reviews, who first brought that game to my attention. And yeah, I've seen videos of it. And no, I don't feel like playing it at all.
Oh, no. See, when I mentioned it, I figured you already knew about it, and I figured you were just going to laugh at me for even suggesting it. But no, okay, good. Yeah, but games like that, I want, because I understand that we have the whole topic under the whole woke and anti-woke, and I'm pretty sure most of us here tend to stand on the anti-woke side. I am okay with companies making their own games like that. I think I want to see more games like Dustborn. I want to see more games like that, because instead of people taking games or franchises that are established and then mucking it up, here, we're going to make our own thing. Cool. I respect you for making your own thing. Now go fail and die like the rest of them. Or if anybody here has played Valkyrie Profile, to quote Arngrim, now die and be silent.
Nice.
So I want them to come out. I want them to release their own thing so that I can give them credit for living out their dream and making their game, and then promptly forgetting about them when they fail and disappear into the ether.
Arngrim is just nuts.
Yeah, fun fact, once you get Arngrim, if you go back to his home village and you go to his bed, he comes out from Lenneth and tells her, "Oh, my father used to use this weapon. You're welcome to use it if you want. You got the Dragon Slayer.
Hey,
great, powerful weapon, but then it has a chance of breaking." Oops. So yeah, clearly a Berserk reference there.
For those of you guys
okay, so LDP. So you just mentioned inclusivity. So here's the thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Soy Dominicano. I'm Hispanic. Okay, we don't fucking need inclusivity. We already have it. Okay, people preaching inclusivity, it is a grift. Games have always been accepting. Dungeons and Dragons has always been accepting. Star Wars has always been accepting. All of this stuff has always been accepting. It's always been very simple. Do you want to enjoy the thing? Cool. Come and enjoy the thing. Do not change the thing. We like the thing how it is. If you are coming in here, this is honestly at its worst. These are the quote-unquote cool kids being butthurt that the thing that they always ragged on you and insulted you for, called you a nerd and a loser when you were a kid. Now it turns out, hey, this stuff is actually pretty cool. And now that they were the cool kids, they want to be cool again. So now they want to go ahead and act like they were always enjoying the cool thing. So they come in, they don't know what the cool thing is, and then they fuck it up. So if you want to talk about inclusivity, it's already there. It's always been there. The fact that you want to run around and act like it's not there is stupid. And the fact that companies are willing to fall for that, is even worse. And it's all because of that dumb broad, Anita Sarkeesian, kicking off Gamergate and probably scaring some of these people. But that's okay, because a lot of these people, they've gotten ahead of themselves and cocky, and they feel like they can just run around and say whatever the hell they want, and I welcome it. I want them to keep doing that. I want you to keep self-reporting so that people can know to avoid it. Because here's the thing. You're telling me about inclusivity and all this stuff. And I'm always going to tell, and let's use comics as an example, right? Let's use comics as an example. I'm willing to bet if I were to talk to any of these quote unquote woke types that preach about inclusivity and preach about diversity and all this other garbage, I got money. I'm willing to bet money that none of them have ever heard of Joe Glass's The Pride. None of them have heard of Magdalene Visaggio's Kim and Kim. None of them have heard of either of those. None of them have bought them. They won't buy them either. I've asked one of my friends. He was happy as hell when they went ahead and they made Robin gay. They said he's bi, but let's be real, he's gay. Told me that. Oh, hey, he's gay now. No, excuse me. It was Superman first, when Superman, son of Kal-El, right? Superman, son of Kal-El is gay. He's got that obnoxiously horrible flag. And I told him, cool. And I told him this. I'm like,
son.
What's up?
How about Wolverine's son?
Who? I never heard of him. That's how irrelevant he is.
He's also gay.
Why am I not surprised? I mentioned something funny about that too concerning Wolverine, but give me a second on that. I told him, I'm like, listen, he was like, oh, it's cool now. He's gay or whatever. I'm like, great. Are you gonna buy it?
Yes,
Nothing.
Logan had a son.
Aris, Superman's son. Yes, his boyfriend, who thinks Superman is not very interesting or cool. Of course he does. Made him a flag. The outside is the classic red, and then the inside is just an amalgamation of random flags and symbols. It's insanity. But yeah, it's pretty bad. But nobody bought it. Disappeared. And now you have then you had the thing with Robin. They made one of the Robins gay, bisexual, but really gay. And my friend did the same thing. He's like, oh, hey, look, they're doing this with Robin. And I told him the same thing as last time. Are you going to buy it? Crickets.
So yeah.
So here's the thing. So here's the thing, right? To kill this topic real quick, to kill it.
All right.
People talk about diversity, inclusion, etc., and I'm telling you that we already have it. Just turn around and look at manga and anime.
Yes.
We've been having this forever. The problem is you don't want that. You want more. It's never going to be enough, even if they got it anyway. Or they're just going to turn around and either move the goalpost, or they're going to create a problem. When people that are like that, and this isn't just for the quote unquote wokes, this is also for the quote unquote anti-wokes. They don't really want, they're never going to defeat the problem. These are the grifters that everyone talks about. For them, they don't want to defeat the enemy. And you don't want to defeat your enemy, because if you defeat your enemy, you can't grift anymore. You'd have to create a new enemy, and you're going to get found out if that happens. Let's be real. So that's why they don't never say that. I was like, oh, the enemy is too powerful right now. We can defeat them, but not now. They're too strong. That's how it is. So when it comes to that sort of thing, the best thing you can do is just laugh at them and ignore them. Or just like I mentioned, ask them, are you going to buy it? And if they say they're going to buy it, cool. Prove it. Buy it. Support it. Because you don't get the bitch when you're running around and telling people, hey, it's not for you, don't buy it. And then you get mad when we don't buy it. And then guess what? Y'all are a minority. There's not enough of you to sustain it. So you need the people that you quote unquote hate to support your stuff so that it can exist. And because it can't, that's why they, instead of them creating, they choose to invade and take what's not theirs. Because they feel that if they take the popular thing, they'll become the popular thing. Instead, everyone just goes, no, this is garbage. Let's move on to the next thing. So it always is. Literally, that's what it always is. Oh man, it's pretty sad, honestly, when you think about it. But what can you do?
I've actually written an article on that, like how JRPGs like Lunar 2 actually have inclusivity before inclusivity was made cool by the woke. That said.
Hold on, let me answer to something that LDP just said. I think I want to answer that.
Go ahead.
I feel like a much bigger problem is that the internet gives a much bigger megaphone to the extremists who don't actually want inclusivity, but rather supremacy. So here's the thing. The problem is the internet and social media. Because in the past, when we didn't have social media, we would have let's say like us, we have a town and we all have our ideas. But then if I were to come up and I were to make a stupid idea, y'all are either going to laugh at me or slap me upside the head and tell me to shut up. And then it's done and over with. So me being the isolated incident, I'm just one guy. So it's easy to ignore me. The problem is that the internet allows more idiots from individual groups to get together and be idiots. And these idiots who have no life are always going to be the loudest. The other issue too is the fact that unfortunately groups have not done well enough in curbing their own. Like let's say all of us here, I think it's safe to say that most of us here are on the quote unquote anti-woke side of things. But unfortunately, there are people on the anti-woke side of things that take it too far. They lob insults, they use slurs, they're excessively disrespectful for no reason. Some of them may even be violent, but they don't get called out. We keep quiet because we want them to do that as a way of shutting up the opponent. But we don't police them. It's the same thing on the quote-unquote woke side. You'll have people saying that they want to preach tolerance and love wins and this, that, and the other. But let's be real. The wokies are the first people that if they get mad and they were to tell me, a Hispanic person, hey, why aren't you on our side? We have this, this, and this. And I said, yeah, but I'd rather make up my own mind on things. And you know how the woke side would respond with? Racism. You shouldn't be on the anti-woke side. They're racist. They hate you. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to make up my own mind. I'm good. Thank you, though. Racism immediately. That's what they do. Nah, Twitter, you're wrong, Slim and him. Twitter went downhill when Tumblr banned porn. And then all the Tumblr morons came to...
I was there. Yes, you're right.
That's what happened. Tumblr was the barrier protecting Twitter from levels of stupidity that we've never seen. The instant they derped and decided, let's take all these people that love their porn and all their freaky-deaky stuff, and we're just going to ban it because we want to be on the app. We want to be on Apple and Google because we want to get bigger. And instead they ended up getting fucking smaller to the point that now nobody even recognizes Tumblr. So it's just like,
yeah,
that's basically what happened.
I was there, and I was just wondering, where did it was like just one day. I was like, where did all these people with, like, pronouns in their bios come from all of a sudden? What the fudge is going on here? I was like, where do these people even come from? And then they started going, problematic.
Look, I have people that come from those walks of life, and I don't really care. The problem is that in that group,
together.
you have narcissists. That's the problem. In that group, you have narcissists. A lot of the problems when it comes to people that are like that is narcissism. Like today, for example, I was walking outside, right? I'm doing my exercise. I dropped by a store because I wanted to pick up a thing to make it easier to cut up apples because I'm going to make an apple pie later. And as I'm leaving, when I'm entering the store, I see an elderly lady. She's about to leave. So I open the door and I hold it for her. She looks over. She said, thank you. She keeps it moving. I say, you're welcome. I go on in. I buy my stuff and I'm about to leave. As I'm about to leave, I see two people also about to enter the store. Since I was first, I exit. I hold the door for them. One of them looks at me, scoffs, points to a pin on their jacket. And I'm like, I look at the pin and I actually have to look it up now because I told her straight up, I'm like, I have no idea what that is. Give me a second. Which one was it? Oh, I look it up now. There it is. It was it was like I think it was a bisexual flag, probably, or something. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Straight up, I'm like, I have no idea what that is. Actually, no, but it's either that or I don't fucking know. It was either that one or the gender fluid or something. And I'm like, sorry, I don't know what that is. Then they looked at me like I was insane and just walked in. The other person right behind him, thanks. I'm like, all right, cool, keep moving. It's narcissism. It's really all it is. It's narcissism. So I don't know what to tell you. So when that stuff happens, I just either look at them like they're funny and keep it moving, or I just laugh at them and keep it moving. Either way, I win. So people want to be goofy with that stuff. Like I said, listen, if you know people, you're gonna know people like that. People that are like that, like they're LGBT or whatever, or even people that are left wing, right wing, whatever. All the nut jobs are online. Twitter isn't a real place. Any of them that you're going to run into in real life are more than likely normal, upstanding, regular individuals. And they probably just want to be left alone. But you got people that are on, the people that act up like that, they're A, permanently online. 2, they probably can't fight anyway, so I wouldn't be worried.
That's true.
So just laugh at them and keep it moving. I'm sorry. Just laugh at them and keep moving. What are you going to do?
Okay, yeah. So anyways, to get back on track, let's get a bit philosophical. What do you look for in a video game? What makes a game compelling for you to play?
It's not overly monetized. That's really all I want at this point.
Oh, okay.
If I want a game for fan service, then give me the fan service. If you're gonna make a game that's gonna be for like fighting games, then pay some action. I don't expect the game to be fully balanced. It's impossible. But I want to see an honest effort made for the game. And for a fighting game, I guess honestly, I don't even want it to be balanced. I want it to be a little silly. Be upfront up like Cerulean just said. Be upfront about what the game is. For games, for movies, I think at this point, please don't do bait and switches. Just tell me what it is. Tell me what the game is. Don't do what people like. The only time that a bait and switch ever worked for a game, now that I think about it, was Metal Gear Solid 2. You thought you were gonna play a snake? Nope, it's Raiden. But the game was good, so it was fine. You try to do a bait. You try to do a bait and switch. It doesn't work. Like, let's say, for example, like with a show on Netflix, the Scott Pilgrim show. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off was advertised as it was going to be Scott Pilgrim anime / the books, but animated. It ended up being a sort of kind of whodunit / time travel-y type thing. And everybody I know agrees that the game should have. I'm sorry, that the show should have just been called Scott Pilgrim New Game Plus. And then you have like Star Wars subverting things. You have games like Battlefield 5, I think it was. That's the one that had the girl with the hook arm. People got annoyed at that game because if you look at the trailer again, the main thing they were showing off was monetization options that the characters can have, and then the diversity angle with the girl with the hook hand. And that game got lambasted. Also, it didn't have any music. Usually those games tend to have some sort of banger playing to really sell you and hype you up on the game. They didn't do that. You know what your game is. You know what your game is supposed to be. Do the thing. That's it. Do the thing. What are you doing? It's not hard. Making games has gotten easier nowadays. You have stronger technology. You have less limitations. Do the thing. I don't even have any philosophical expectations at this point. Look at how games have been made in the past that worked. Do the thing. That's it. Do the thing. There's no reason for people to make games nowadays and have it fail. When people are looking back and thinking about how shit was now retroactively bad is the dumbest shit you can do. Like when you go back and say, "Oh, that game was kind of problematic," I'm already not interested in your game. There's some guy that was working on an FPS talking about how guns make him nervous. Why the fuck are you working on an FPS game with guns? Go play something else. Go make a farming game or some shit. Not that those games are bad. You know, I know some people that love Harvest Moon, but go make a Harvest Moon game or something. You know, if you have people that are getting butthurt, hang on a second. LDP, do me a favor. You're telling me that, are you saying that white people have no culture? Because if you think that, I want you to eliminate that from your thought process right now. Everybody has culture, bro.
Yep.
Don't let people of color. I'm the Hispanic guy. So, yeah. Don't let people of color try to act like you ain't got no culture, bro. Get out of here with that. That's garbage.
Here's a question for.
There is no need to come up with new ideas if people will just buy the same recycled stuff. Sometimes that's what we want, bro.
Yeah,
I think Nintendo made an excuse about that they didn't want to make a new F-Zero because they felt like, oh, we can't do anything to make it fresh and new. Nobody cares, bro. Make another F-Zero. That's what we want. Look at, and here's the thing. That's hypocrisy. Look at Mario Kart. What did they do recently? Hey guys, we're releasing a DLC. Enjoy all of our old tracks. The best Ridge Racer game was Ridge Racer and Ridge Racer 2 PSP. You know what those games did? They included music from the old games. They included tracks from the old games. That game did good. F-Zero 99, as much of a monkey's paw as it is, and it pisses me off, the game seems to be doing well. They took old tracks. They took the classic 4 machines. They made a slightly new spin on it. It's doing well. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Everything doesn't have to be new. You can take something old and do your own take on it. But if you do that, you have to respect what is old. You don't have to make something new and brand spanking unique. You really don't have to. All you got to do is make a game that's good. If the game is solid and has enough of a unique quirk to it, then it'll do well. Again, look at TF2. The characters are colorful and goofy. Look at Overwatch. The characters stand out on their own. But it's essentially TF2. But it's doing well. Then you have Apex Legends. Same thing. But it's a 3-on-3 instead. With squad based.
Culture is a cult, says LDP. It's right in the name. That's just incorrect.
Nah, come on, bro. Don't do that, LDP. Come on, bro. No. What if anybody ever tells you that white people have no culture? All I'm gonna do is just point at the Dutch. Game over. I'm gonna just point at the Dutch. They got the super hot barmaids. They got the girls with them big double D titties and the big beer jugs. There you go. You got the clog dancing thing. You got their food. Come on, bro. Don't do that.
Let's get back on track then. Hey, Great White North, welcome. So let's get back on track. Here's a question for LDP and everyone else in chat as well as for Gerardo. What do you guys think of making a terrible game good, like what they did with Zelda CDI game?
As in, like, remake the game and make it good?
Yep.
I think so. But my only request would be you got to keep some of the goofiness in it. So if that has to do with keeping the goofy conversations, I think it's actually perfectly doable because, I mean, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, that game was a side scroller, and the 2 of the CDI games were side scrollers. So it's entirely possible to remake those games, like Wand of Gamelon.
They actually did.
And actually make them good. It's absolutely possible.
They made like a tribute game to that. What's it called? RZ. There you go.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, so you haven't played it. You have some things you could argue with this. You're welcome. Then come online, Logan. Come and argue. Anyway.
Okay, so it's almost 2. I gotta hop off. I gotta cook soon. So
Oh, okay.
I gotta get my cooking done.
Oh, okay. But do you wanna say okay? Alright. So do you have any parting words? Would you like to ask me a question before you leave?
Let me think. So one of your biggest gripes, I don't think I've ever heard you mention it, or I may have forgotten, but you mentioned since you don't like platformers, what would be a requirement to actually make you like the game? Other than the less memorization, more skill. What would be another trait?
What would be another trait? Yes, put cute anime girl aesthetics into it.
Okay. LDP, I'm going to answer that for you. Just because some white people have culture doesn't mean you have to. You play games, bro. You're already partaking in culture. And that's I don't expect you to have quote unquote culture. I expect you to be a good person. As long as you're a good person, you can be the most boring guy out there. And I think that'll be perfectly fine. I don't think you're a bad person. So as far as I'm concerned, I think you're great. As long as you're a good person, and if you want to do a little bit of self-improvement, that's great too. But the fact that you're playing games and enjoying games with us, you already have culture, bro. I think you have culture. You're fine.
Alright, so do you have any parting words?
I'm still better looking than you. There's my parting words. Nah, I'm kidding. Let me. I'll say something a little serious. We're all gamers. I understand that most of us are probably on the anti-woke side, but while we will be critical of people that are undesirable, we have to remember that the main reason why we like games is because it's fun. So if people don't want to have fun, they can go somewhere else. Absolutely gatekeep in that regard. But just because we have people that are troublesome, we got to remember to not generalize people, because there's going to be people out there that are going to enjoy games just as much as we do. And just because they're different from us, that's okay. But first and foremost, the main thing of playing games is to have fun. If y'all want to have fun with us too, come on through. If you don't, keep it moving. And also, please take care of your physical health. You only got one life. There's no respawns. Go to the gym, please. And get buff like me. Oh, and lolis are good. If you don't like them, well, you have no taste.
Okay. Thank you
Looking at
very
you,
much.
Koromim.
Thank you very much for being a very interesting guest for this L Talks this Sunday, Gerardo. Have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Yep. Y'all be safe, fellas. Stay safe.
I'm gonna call in LDP if he wants to. Right. How do I do this? Right. So, do you want to join, Logan? Gerardo has left the house. Do you have something to say? Yes, Gerardo was an awesome guest. So, if Logan has nothing to say, I'm just gonna work on my schedule a bit. Oh, you said you had something to say. If you want to come online and say it, go ahead. I'll give you a call. If not, it is fine as well. If you have something to say, like live, it's fine as well with just the two of us. You said you had something to argue. So, I response. Calling me. Okay. Oh, there you go. Alright, Logan is in the house.
Hey.
Hello.
So, did Gerardo already leave? Gerardo?
Yep.
Okay.
He has to cook.
Okay. I very much, so the main thing that I wanted to touch on that I disagree with Gerardo on is fan service. I think fan service is actually very bad because it allows it champions complacency, and I think the real reason that the game industry, at least the AAA industry, is dying. It's not the microtransactions, it's not the predatory shit, it's not any of that. What it really comes down to, and this is kind of true of a lot of media, going beyond games, but also movies and television and things like that, is everything's already been done before. It's stale. And even things, I will admit I'm guilty of this. Even things that I like the new Beetlejuice movie, Beetlejuice 2, Beetlejuice. Even that is it's just fan service. It goes a bit beyond that and tells a good story, and I admire it on that level. But fan service, I think, allows for complacency, and if we aren't evolving, I feel like art should always be evolving. Good art pushes boundaries. It doesn't just give you what you want, it gives you what you didn't know that you wanted. And that's kind of my issue with the everything old is new again movement. Now, I say that as somebody who actively partakes in the movement. So I've had a lot of internal confliction on this. But I see it as a detriment to just art as a whole. I feel like we're in a very dark age in certain forms of art. Apart from maybe music, I think music has maybe the last bastion of really pushing boundaries. And when I say pushing boundaries, I don't mean doing controversial things, I mean that in terms of trying new things that may have otherwise seemed uncommercial, unsellable.
Okay. So,
I feel like the everything old is new again movement is junk food. It's junk food for the mind, and it's junk food for... It's junk food giving people what they want instead of what they didn't know that they wanted.
Okay. So, basically, what you're saying is that, fan service allows for complacency, right? So,
Yes.
It allows these creators, these developers for video games, for example, to just stick to what is safe without exploring new ways to exploit the medium of video games, something like that.
I'm sorry, repeat that. I was paying attention to the comments. I probably shouldn't be doing that.
So basically, I'm just trying to paraphrase what you're saying. What
Yeah.
you're saying is that basically fan service allows for complacency, and it allows these developers or these creators of video games to just stick to what they know to be safe, what they know will sell, without really trying to explore more of what you can do with a medium of video games. Is that
Exactly. It explore exactly. It doesn't. Like I said, good art challenges people. It pushes them to think outside of what they are comfortable with.
So do you believe
And like if you take
okay.
if you look at like Final Fantasy VII, the reason that is considered one of the best RPGs of all time is because it goes so far above and beyond what other RPGs were doing. It tells a grander story. It had, cinematic elements. It had like a bunch of different gameplay styles. Like there's one part that's a strategy game. There's one or an RTS. There's one part that's kind of like Mario Kart. There's one part, you know what I mean?
Yep. That's why Arc Chief Review says it's just a tech demo.
Well, I mean, yes, you could argue that, but I also don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Like I mean, the Wii was a tech demo, but it sold millions. Why? Because it was a good tech demo. The tech was good, and at least a lot of people thought that the tech was good, so much so that the other two kind of tried to copy it, and in my opinion, didn't really do as good of a job, despite the tech objectively being kind of better.
So I actually have several more questions which I had lined up for Gerardo. Would you like to try and answer them?
Sure.
Okay. So, first of all, let's go back to the question I asked Gerardo, which I think you have a different opinion on. Do you believe that modern games have reached a stagnation point?
Yes. I think so.
Right?
No, actually, no. Let me amend that.
Okay.
I think that the AAA industry long ago has reached a stagnation point. I would argue maybe back in the PS3 era, maybe even PS2.
I see.
But, well, maybe not. I don't know. I guess like Battle Royale kind of. No, I would say like PS3 was kind of like. And when I say the AAA industry, I do kind of exclude some. Like Nintendo, I think Nintendo has always been the outlier in just they are the king of what I like to call throwing shit at a wall to see what sticks. They've been doing it since the beginning. And I mean, like in the 60s, like before they got into video games, they were also into like they had a taxi service, they had love hotels, and like then they just suddenly got into toys for some reason, and that morphed into video games. And Nintendo is still at it. Like, Splatoon is a battle royale game where, you're a squid and you try to build as much territory with a paintball gun, or, a roller or whatever. Like, that's a unique idea that
Is it?
I think like the other two would be too scared to really attempt. But also, I would say the indie game industry is kind of picking up that mantle as well. I think that generally, yes, I would say the big companies, the EAs, the Sonys, the Microsofts, the Activisions, I think that they are at they long since got into a stagnation point. I think that there are some companies, however, who are still pushing the industry forward, and I champion that.
All right. So, if you could design the ideal video game of your dreams and had all the resources to do so, what do you think it would be like? How would it play? What would be its genre?
You know what I would actually do? I think it would be a VR game. Something like, something like for the Meta Quest or the Vive or something like that. And I think it would be some sort of a God sim. Kind of like either a God sim or a mech sim, kind of like I'm kind of thinking something like Steel Battalion in VR. You know of Steel Battalion on Xbox?
I do not. Nope, I don't.
Steel Battalion, it's a mech sim. It's kind of, but and look up look up the Steel Battalion controller.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay.
It's a controller that it came bundled with the game, and it's massive. It looks massive, and it is massive, and it has like, I don't know, something like 47 different buttons, and it's really complex. Like what you can do, it's like, you know, like Armored Core. It's like if you were inside Armored Core, and you were literally at a control panel moving the mech yourself, and you had like the actual controls.
Interesting.
Kind of like Armored Core meets Densha to Go, almost, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I looked up the controller. Looks like it has foot pedals, like
Yeah,
like
it has
a
foot
manual.
pedals. It's almost like an arcade. It's almost like it's just a massive beast of a thing. They did make a second Steel Battalion game, but they tried to use Kinect. And take a look at how complicated that controller is. Now imagine doing that on a thing like the Kinect, which does not register your inputs like 60% of the time. You can understand how well that went down. But I think I would say something either like Steel Battalion in VR or like a God Sim in VR. Almost like imagine like first person Rampage almost. But like you could kind of like these wouldn't necessarily be games where there's an objective. They would be sort of like sandbox games where you could, which is kind of funny that this is the game, because I probably would never actually play this game, but I think like that's what I want to see. Like the VR, like I think VR has kind of been like like it's VR is a technology that I think has been slept on way too long, and I want to see more done with it. You could even like, I've even like envisioned like a VR centric control style where it's like instead of like if you have a controller, instead of like, you know, moving the thumbstick forward to go forward, it would almost be like you have the one thumbstick go up and the other thumbstick come down, and you like kind of like switch between those, sort of like putting one foot in front of the other. It would be a more immersive control style, I think.
I see. Have you ever played Black and White for PC?
Black and White? No.
So, basically it's a God Sim. Like, you control a hand. You're like this hand in a 3D world. And, you have this creature, which, you kind of race and train and stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
it has its own AI, so you kind of train it to do stuff. And using the hand, you can perform spells. Like, if you wave your hand in a particular way, you can cause rain to fall down. And you have this village with people worshipping you. So yeah, it's your job to expand your territory. The more people worship you, the more your territory expands. And your creature, your beast, is basically there to protect your territory from invading.
I think like the idea that I have is it's not like you're a god controlling a creature, you are the creature.
Oh, okay.
And I guess maybe God Sim isn't like the right term, I guess. More like, so like I've thought of like, but like it would kind of have like a similar idea to that. Like you could be like, you would like kind of like slowly evolve. Like, you know the Dreamcast game Seaman?
Yep, I do.
It would be kind of like that, where like you could start as like this like almost microscopic, you know, organism. And that would allow for people to that would kind of allow for playing with like perspective, sort of like you know, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, like how like the thing about that movie is like, you know, playing with perspective, seeing things from the point of view of somebody who's, you know, 2 inches tall. And
I see.
And over time, you can grow up, and as you grow up, you can choose to help people or hurt people. And hurting people, it will penalize you, but I mean, it's fun, so people are going to do it regardless. Helping people, yeah, could like help you expand territory, could kind of like help you expand and let you play more of the game, and it'll reward you by you know, letting you see more of the game, more of the like big open world.
Oh, I see. That kind of reminds me of... What is it again? There is this...
There's a lot.
Like, there is this game from SNES that's 2D. That, which it reminds me of. You start on some kind of... No, you start out as some kind, not ActRaiser. You start out as some kind of fish. Then you start to evolve, and you choose what kind of evolutions. I think it's Evo, actually. Evo Search for Eden. There we go.
Oh, okay.
You ever played that one?
I don't think I have.
Maybe you should give it a try.
Like, Evo?
Yeah,
or
Search for Eden. Evo.
Huh?
Evo as an evolution. EVO.
Oh,
Search
okay.
for Eden.
I'll add that to... Like I said, I'm not entirely sure I would actually enjoy that game, but it's a game that I think should be made, and I think it would kind of, like I said, sort of like, I mentioned a couple of things that it would be inspired by, but like only very loosely on a surface level. And I think it would kind of be like that sort of like, it would be a sort of killer app for VR that I think VR is severely lacking. But also, I think it would just be a whole new game experience.
Alrighty. Well, that actually concludes the set of questions I had prepared for Gerardo. But thank you for answering, though, Logan.
Yeah.
Anyways, anything else you want to say?
I guess I could kind of quick touch on
Yeah.
Sort of an argument I was having in the chat, and I guess briefly with Gerardo as well, about how I say I don't have culture.
Okay.
First of all, I'm not saying white people don't have culture, but also I would also say white culture. Culture is not. Culture doesn't really have anything to do with race. Like if you're black, you might have your cultural background might be more rooted in Africa. It might be more rooted in the Caribbean. It might be more rooted in America, but sort of like an urban American black culture, sort of like, New York, Detroit, LA. Same thing with white people. I'm saying I don't subscribe to any of that. I am my own person. I have things that I like that are cultural. Like I like, certain kinds of music. I like certain kinds of movies, etc. But that has nothing to do with my upbringing. It has more to do with just things that I've found that I like. So it's not really influenced by anybody. And that's sort of what I say by... That's why I say culture is sort of a cult, because culture evolves around groupthink. And groupthink, I think, is the basis of any cult. If you start to think in a hive mind...
Brownlow sent a long notification.
Sorry. If you start to think in sort of a hive mind, you start to kind of, think as a collective. And I think thinking as a collective means that you aren't thinking for yourself, and that is dangerous.
I see. So basically, you value independent thought, so you don't actively identify with any particular cultural group. On that
Yeah.
note, we are pretty much the same. I feel the same way.
Yeah, I thought that I kind of figured we might have some common ground on that.
That's why you might like anime. I mean, a lot of anime. It's a recurring theme in all kinds of anime. But I am my own person. I do things because I choose to.
I think I believe that. I think Japan is a very sort of utilitarian. I'm talking about how much I hate generalization. I'm about to, break my own rule. I think a lot of Japan is a very the general society, I think, is very utilitarian. So I could imagine people going against the fray kind of being shocking, out of the norm sort of thing.
Yes.
It's a very it's a society that values sort of hard work, being part of a collective,
yes,
and overall sort of striving for a greater goal. And I can kind of see how culture, or how the media and sort of entertainment culture is kind of pushing against that.
Yep, exactly. It's almost like anime is the antithesis to their actual culture in Japan. Exactly.
Yeah.
Alright. So, with that said, anything else you'd like to add? I think I'm done with questions. Maybe you'd just like to promote your stream.
Quick look at chat.
Go ahead.
Anime is culture, yes. Let me. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of browsing chat to see if anybody has a response. I guess not really.
There's tons of responses actually, if you scroll up a bit.
Oh, okay. Cerulean says, yeah, I don't use fan service as the message. Princess Garnet was adorable. I have no idea who that is.
Final Fantasy game.
Nintendo and their alarm. Yeah, that look, Alarmo both in and the Wake Up Club on Vita, did the Vita have an alarm clock?
Well, you could also use the Miku game as an alarm clock. That's been a thing since the PSP. But yeah, I think there was an actual app, which was just an alarm clock.
Yeah. Alarmo, I think, is as much as I would never buy it, and asking $100 for it, I understand how that would turn people off, but they got some crazy ideas, and I applaud that. Or Labo, where it's kind of like Google Cardboard, but expanding that concept massively. Well, you can make VR glasses in Google Cardboard. How about literally anything else? You could, make a piano. Who gives a shit? Why not?
Sometime in the mid-2000s, I think 2000, I'm not sure, 16, 15. Miku
Right.
did that. Miku did that one better. There was this box. It was just a box with a prism inside that they sold, and then you put your smartphone on top of the box, and then you play this app, which will project a 3D version of Miku into the box, dancing and singing for you.
Okay, yeah, there you go. That's no, Nintendo got beat at their own game. I have to acknowledge that. Jilly was asking if I like pumpkin spice. Yeah, it's okay. Pumpkin spice, pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin spice Frappuccinos, they're all right. I'm not like a huge coffee drinker, but I don't know. Pumpkin spice is all right.
Alrighty. So, would you like to maybe promote your stream later on or something?
Okay, I will. Yeah, I'll probably log off now. But yeah, I'm doing Rompery tonight. Playing a bunch of different games that have been requested. I did get the PS3 working. I got Warhammer working at very least, so I'll be able to play that. Unfinished Swan, I'm not sure. Unfinished Swan doesn't show up in the game list, but it's like kind of like set up differently than
Yeah,
other.
It's a downloadable app, is why. Hey, Hill. Welcome.
Huh?
It's a downloadable app, I think. That's why. Hey, Hill.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that. Maybe I can open it just like from the file menu, but I'll have to see tonight.
Alrighty.
Because there's like a file that's just like PS3_game, and that's like the only thing I could think of that maybe could work. I'm not sure though. Yeah, like and I wouldn't even. The only place I was able to find that's even carrying the game is Internet Archive, and that's actually offline at the moment.
Yeah, it is.
I guess they said they're doing like some security maintenance things, so I don't know what's going on with that, but
There's Romspun.
yeah.
And Aris
Anyway,
says,
I'll leave you to your own devices.
Okay.
Sorry?
Aris says he promotes you even though he disagrees with you with a few things.
Who does?
Aris218.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, fair enough. Thank you.
Alrighty, that was LDP, folks, and make sure you visit his stream later.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Sorry, this was like kind of an impromptu thing. I just like kind of had like, I kind of like wanted to push back on Gerardo's point of view of just like, oh, fan service. No, I don't like that mentality, and I think that good art should be pushing an industry forward, not just giving people what they want.
All right. I think you're both, I think you don't actually disagree. I think it's more like you have different perspectives on the matter. I don't think you're actually disagreeing with each other.
Maybe not. I
Based on
think
what
maybe.
Gerardo was saying.
Well, yeah, I think that the industry, yeah, like that should be like the number one priority of an artist is to give something that they may not feel comfortable with, like not saying like, be edgy or being controversial. I'm saying like, try new things. It's very hard. I understand to do that now, but it's possible.
Welcome back, Melstorm.
Anyway, thanks for having me on.
Alright, that was LDP, folks. Once again, make sure to visit Rompery later. Bye-bye!
Thank you. Bye.
I'm gonna log off. And I make my schedule now. So thank you to LDP for capping off today's interview. And once again, thank you very much to Gerardo Santana for being an excellent guest. And yeah, remember folks, my Sunday schedules are always open for anyone who wants to be a guest here. This is how we handle interviews here. As long as I'm the only one doing the interview, I'm pretty sure it goes pretty well. If there's more than one host, it tends to get a bit chaotic. Hello, Dan. Yep, if you want, then speak up. That'd be how it goes. Let me turn on my creepy BGM for a bit. Like that. Hey, I just downloaded this game that I'm pretty sure is hentai. It's called Black Souls. Seems it's an RPG of some kind. Alright. Let me open up my schedule. I got stuff here. So for Tuesday, we're gonna change that. So yeah, just changing this one. The others can stay. Everything else should be good. And LBB's back in chat. Hello, Renee. Now we change, guess I'll change my image right here. I got an idea. Let's get rid of Chibi here and replace her with this. Ha, that hurts. Nah. Alright. Now for a background. got planned for the rest of the stream, I make my schedule, then play some games. I don't know. Feel like playing maybe some more Dead Space or something. See if I can make some more progress in Dead Space. That's basically it. So save this. Filter. Sharpen more. Alright. Should I use the same background? I guess I could. You know what? This looks just fine. Let's go with this one. Alright, we done with the schedule. Now then. Hey. Let's play some games. Oh, here's one that Karumi was playing. Let's give this a shot. I wonder if this will work on an older. We're about to find out. Wonder if this will work on an older emulator. Hey. Gotta go. Later, Realm and Shade. Thank you for hanging out. Alright, let's see what this is all about. What is this? You know what, let's play some itch.io games for the rest of the stream. If you guys have any requests, go ahead and tell me. music is so goofy. That music too goofy. I love it. Hey, talk to me. Oh, whatever. Now what? It's Batman. Wah! Eh. Alright, I think I'll still be here for a while. Gonna go on till around 4. Wah! A bit impatient. Wait a minute. Wiki, please. Well, that seems simple enough. I don't see anything happening. Oh, I see. You gotta keep going. He put in another one. Bleep, 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 bleep. Oh, we done. Well, game is okay. GG, thank you. What's this? Oh, she can slash. Interesting. Let's see. No! But ha! Ha ha! He's like, bro, why would you even stop shooting? For any particular reason. Oh, okay. I didn't see those bullets. Okay. Sad. Trigger happy, always have been. Gotta make sure we kill every last one of these. Oh, it's glowing, so I got everything. Okay. Never trust an ice-based platform. Wah! The damage sound she makes is funny. It's like, wah! We got boss, we got boss. Bleep, 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 bleep. Hey, Kermit. Oh, it's a short game. Well, I'm not gonna beat it. Bleep, 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 bleep. What's going on? Why isn't he doing anything? Come on, do something. Come on, do something so I can kill you. What now? Did I miss a few gems? Oh, I got them all. What's that? Bleep, 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 bleep. Oh, I see. Let's go back to these. Actually, I'm done with this. Let's play something else. Alright, I feel like trying out some game on itch.io. Maybe we try some Kurumi approved game. Yeah. I got a list of Kurumi approved games. Hey. I got some games. Tomato Adventure for the GBA? No. I got something else. Let me just download this. Unique RPG. I see. Just a minute while I finish downloading this one. Maybe delete some stuff too. Oh look, Alien Isolation. Oh, I got something. So basically, if it shows something which I can't show, I just close the game real fast. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Alright. You didn't see a thing. Nothing. There was nothing. Kurumi approved game. I'ma have to edit that out. That looked dangerous. That looked dangerous. Never mind. I think it's a hairband. Alright, let's see what Tomato Adventure is. Play some safer game. Also, I'm gonna have to completely cut out that section. Hello, Michael. See what this is all about. Apparently, this is a unique RPG or something. According to Kurumi. Right. Oh yes, it was Yohane Araine. Whatever. Now then. See what this thing that Kurumi's talking about is all about. It's a unique GBA game. Something. Yes. GBA. Tomato adventure. Yes. Nintendo. There we go. Alright. Attack of the killer tomatoes. This is a land of kids for kids by kids. The Ketchup Kingdom. Does it come with fries? Nobody would remember that cartoon. Or the movie, for that matter. Well, the movie was like R-rated. The cartoon was for kids. Weird. Over here, it aired, just after the Super Mario Super Show. Oh, no, it aired before the Super Mario Super Show. On a Saturday. Well, they just showed whatever cartoons they had available on a Saturday. Super Kara Cooker! Pew, 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 pew. What kind of silly game is this? Oh, he was watching a TV show. Give it a good kick. Give it a good whack at the top. That'll set the CRT straight. Give it a good whack. Yes, percussive maintenance. You broke it. Good job. I don't think a Carmen San Diego was ever shown here. What? You know likey tomatoes. It's Pink Miku. Hello. Hi. Nom 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 nom. Bleh. Like I say, cut up the tomatoes, sprinkle some salt and sugar on top, let it stay for a bit, then roast them in the oven toaster. It makes them nice and tasty. Beep, beep. What kind of silly game is this? Wait, is there like a day and night system? I think it has some kind of day and night system. You know this game? PNTV. It really is an RPG. No, I think they're kind of gimmicky. What up? Okay. He died after 2 hits. What kind of silly little game is this? Pakipinod. Hello, Crumbling Sanity. Welcome. Mentioning you by name is Kermie's way of saying hi. What now? Okay. A tutorial. Oh, I can move faster than that blue thing now. Good. What the? It's Mr. Tutorial guy again. That's exactly what it is, a gear yo-yo. is recommended by Karumi in chat. I'm only trying this out today, though. So that did 24 damage. How about Giryo then? Okay, that's a little bit more damage. Okay. Let's see if it has improved. Level up. We got a robot now. Alright. Seems to do the same amount of damage. guess. It's just an RPG though. And it seems to be an RPG for kids. So I doubt it's going to get... all that challenging. What is that? Whoa. Okay. It does have a difficulty setting tweak. Just playing on default right now. Alright. Okay. What up? Wow, oil. this fight is to not become spaghetti sauce. Hey, Slim Nim. Welcome back. Hello, bigger problem. It's called Tomato Adventure. Apparently it's an RPG. Aha! Okay, so not like that. Yeah, this is Game Boy Advance. I see now. I get it. Right here? Oh, maybe the other side. There we go. Gimmick Robo! Oh no! They took your girlfriend. What you gonna do about it? Oh, we fight it. Yeah, that looks kind of dangerous. Are you dead? Still alive? Yeah, dead. There's a Game Boy in the background. Got eaten. I got poisoned. Oh well. Ah! That was bad. I do like how quickly you can make progress in the game, though. Yeah, they do look like papas. It's a tomato papa. Si, tomapa. That's why it's red. Okay. The 6 super kids. an excuse to go on some quests all over the world. Okay. Ta-da! Where the Mushroom Kingdom in that map? I see. Okay. Well, I guess that's enough of that. It was fun while it lasted. Anyways, I'm going to end the stream here. It's around 4 a.m. Alright, tomorrow will be Tales of Graces, but don't forget to visit Aris 218 later on. And LDP, who will be doing Rompery. Also, Kurumi will probably be streaming something. So yeah, there you go. So with that said, thank you very much everyone for watching. I gotta go now. I also need to. It was a fun stream. Thank you, Katsu. Anyways, I need to go now, and also I need to edit out that yabai portion of the stream. You know, when I tried the Kurumi approved game. I need to edit that out so that it doesn't affect the channel. With that said, thank you very much everyone for watching. This has been Elle-C, and I am out. So see you next time in your streams of mine. Bye-bye! Bye-bye! If you enjoyed the stream, please consider my commission services, which are all negotiable and listed to my left. I am 100% reliant on YouTube nowadays, so any support is greatly appreciated. Once again, thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day or night, wherever you may be watching me from. Bye-bye! Bye-bye!